Our country of focus this week is Peru for our 8 dimensions of wellness study. We will start with the intellectual dimension. In 1996, the government of Peru passed education reform that extended free and compulsory school education to all students age 5 to 16, known as general education and technical. However, the secondary period of compulsory education is somewhat aspirational, as approximately one quarter of the relevant age group does not currently enroll in upper secondary education. This is especially the case in remote parts of the Andean highlands and across the sparsely populated Amazonian rainforest in the country's interior. There is just one grading scale in Peru, used both at secondary and higher education level. It is a 0 to 20 scale, with 11 being the lowest passing grade. Many of the best universities in Peru are private, not-for-profit universities. However, a mushrooming of private for-profit universities across the country has led to significant concern over quality standards more broadly than in the private sector. Under a newly passed university law, a majority of Peru's private universities will be subject to quality control inspections to determine if they will be allowed to continue operating. Purdue is currently ranked number 52 in the world rankings overall for education. Next, we'll move to the physical dimension of wellness. According to a recent study on healthy habits, only 10% of Peruvians do any type of physical exercise. Of these, only 2% go to an actual gym, so they do not have a large gym culture in Peru. This has led to a population dealing with prevalent conditions such as heart disease. The new president of Peru would like to change this and has championed physical fitness. He does routine outdoor exercise sessions with his cabinet at the governmental palace, and they are broadcast live. People who do exercise often exercise outdoor because the weather is basically perfect all year round. The urban areas have parks with exercise equipment stations, tennis courts are common, and clay courts are easy to maintain with the Peruvian weather. You'll also find people playing soccer. Soccer is by far the most popular sport in the country and the sport that the country is best at. They are always a strong competitor in the FIFA World Cup. We'll move now to the social dimension of wellness. The concept of personal space is very different from the Western world. When talking with someone, Peruvian people stand very close to them. You might find it uncomfortable at first. Even if you do, try not to back away or appear unfriendly. This is considered rude in Peruvian custom. When greeting anyone for the first time, Peruvian people usually shake hands. However, if they know the person, men often greet other men with a pat on the back, and women generally kiss each other on the cheek. When meeting someone for the first time, address them by señor or señora, followed by their last name. In Peru, only friends and family can address each other by the first names. It is considered polite to greet people you meet, even if that person is a taxi driver. It is very usual for Peruvian people to run behind on their schedules. So if you're meeting someone and you're going to arrive late, don't worry about it. Peruvian people will give higher importance to their relationships than to being on time. If you receive an invitation to someone's home for a party or lunch, don't forget to take a gift for the host or hostess. It is not necessary to get something expensive. You can take anything like a box of chocolates, flowers, or wine, just something as a token of your appreciation. Food is a very serious subject in Peru, and many worldly travelers believe that Peru has the best food in the world. Peru has a variety of influences that make its dishes very unique. Spanish conquistadors brought their influence to traditional Peruvian food, but also brought African slaves, which combined their recipes. And more recently, East Asian immigrants have also influenced the food. For Food is an art and brings people together in Peru. You will find all types of meat, but the fish is exceptional because so many people live near the coast and the waters off Peru are filled with diverse and tasty fish. Drinking alcohol is such a social event that oftentimes drinks are passed throughout the group. This social custom is surely on hold during the current worries about spreading germs, but this is a real custom in Peru. Beer is a very common alcoholic drink, but pisco is a brandy that is unique to Peru and is a national favorite. Next, we'll talk about the environmental dimension of wellness. Peruvians are fond of pointing out their country consists of three distinct geological components: the coast, the Sierra, which is the highlands, and the selva, which is the jungle. Although the largest cities are situated along the coast, the Amazon rainforest, which makes up nearly 2/3 of Peru, and the bold Andes mountain range dominate the country. The Pacific coastal region is a narrow strip that runs from one end of the country to the other, and is made up of almost entirely desert. The Andes, South America's longest mountain range, is the most significant feature of the Peruvian landscape. The mountain ranges in the center of Peru, north of Lima, are among the highest in Peru. In extreme southern Peru, near Puno and Lake Titicaca, the Andes yield to the Altiplano, the arid high plains. The jungle ranges from cloud forests in the south to low-lying flatlands in the north. Although 60% of Peru is Amazon rainforest, only about 5% of the country's human inhabitants reside there. Massive Lake Titicaca, which is shared with Bolivia, is the largest lake in South America and the world's highest navigable body of water at 12,566 feet. The vast Amazon basin that pertains to Peru holds a phenomenal wealth of flora and fauna, but a dwindling human presence. Indigenous Amazonian tribes have been greatly reduced by centuries of disease, deforestation, and assimilation. There were once some 6 million people, 2,000 tribes, and innumerable languages in the Amazon basin. Today, the indigenous population is less than 2 million. Still, many traditions and languages have yet to be extinguished, especially deep in the jungle, though most visitors are unlikely to come in contact with groups of unadulterated, non-Spanish speaking native peoples. Peru is losing nearly 740,000 acres of rainforest annually. The primary threats to Peru's tropical rainforests are deforestation caused by agricultural expansion, cattle ranching, logging, oil extraction and spills, mining, illegal cocoa farming, and colonization initiatives. Deforestation has shrunk territories belonging to indigenous people and wiped out more than 90% of their population. Next, we'll go into the spiritual dimension of wellness. Peru has a rich ancient culture of spiritualism centering around the connection between humans and Earth Mother. The ancestral ceremonies involved date back to long before the Incas and are mediated by pagos, which are distinct from shamans. At its core, Peruvian spirituality is animist, believing in the sentience or power of individual mountains and the gods that inhabit them. Natural phenomena such as lightning and thunder add to Earth Mother. Though its ancient beliefs in spiritualism are still ingrained in society, technically the largest religion in Peru is Roman Catholic. Many Peruvians have blended their Catholic traditions with their ancient beliefs. We're going to move on to the emotional component of wellness here. Although some would argue otherwise, Peru could be described as a patriarchal society. Men are preferentially treated in most, if not all, aspects of society. Sons are preferred over daughters, are given more freedom, and are less burdened by household chores and family obligations. In theory, men are expected to marry and provide for their families. There are, however, large numbers of female-run households where the mother has to work and provide for the children. Meanwhile, it is a common social practice for men to have other female lovers and children outside of their initial marriage. In general, children are brought up to be respectful of their elders, obedient, and hardworking. Lastly, we're going to talk about the financial aspect of Peru in relation to the 8 dimensions of wellness. Peru draws a significant portion of its GDP from the narcotics trade and other organized crime, including illegal mining. Much of the world's copper, silver, and gold come from Peru, and the country has benefited tremendously from high international prices for these goods. Recent stimulus packages have aimed to improve infrastructure, invest in education, and reduce informal taxation. While the economy grows exponentially, heavy pollution affects rainforest ecosystems and contaminates drinking water, and demand for workers brings about 1/3 of the nation's children into the labor force. Poverty levels have been halved since the beginning of the century, but at 30% are still high, especially in rural areas. Peru is a middle-income country facing many of the same problems as low-income country, but without the eligibility or attention for assistance. Peru's economy is one of the fastest growing in Latin America, and employers are hiring across most job sectors. Job seekers in the area of finance, banking, mining, and services will find abundant opportunities, as will technical experts searching for positions in the agribusiness, engineering, mining, IT, and healthcare sectors. Lima, Peru's capital, offers the best and largest variety of job opportunities, employing 1/3 of the country's workforce, and it is the skilled professionals and workers with university degrees who will earn the best salaries. Given the need for skilled professionals, there has been a growing number of foreigners who have found career opportunities in Peru over the past decade. Between 2000 and 2012, the number of foreigners who became residents in Peru grew by 600%. Peruvian law establishes that foreign employees may not constitute more than 20% of the total number of employees of a local company, even if it's owned by a national or foreign name. However, via specific bilateral agreements, Peru has excluded from its nationality-based hiring requirements the U.S., Spanish, and Argentinian professionals.